why selection for this award is so incredibly challenging for us as a department. You know, the nature of this business is that there are many opportunities for heroism on a daily basis. Our folks are exposed to those situations that a good amount of public just aren't unwilling to do or are uninterested in doing, is subjecting themselves to risk. What's notable is our crews, our folks and members of the department, they approach it with a team-based mentality or crew-based mentality. And the old expression is that there's strength in numbers, and many fire service critical incidents are resolved by a team. As an example, just a few weeks ago, West Hartford Fire Department members were faced with great personal risk in a structure fire where there were heavy fire conditions and a need to search for victims who were reportedly trapped. You know, stopping this fire required numerous members to work together. And this team approach, coupled with these daily opportunities for award-worthy behavior, gives us a workforce that is quite simply hard to impress. Further, the vast majority of our members are pretty humble, and they think that they're just doing their job. And in many cases, they are. And there becomes an expectation that they are going to take action in hazardous conditions. So the net result is, when it comes time to select the Firefighter of the Year award, we have a candidate pool of folks who are regularly facing danger together. They do a lot of things that the general public doesn't want to, are hard to impress, and they're generally too humble to talk about awards afterwards. So my hat is off to the awards committee who navigates this process year after year. So all this said, you know, this year's Firefighter of the Year award, much like many other things, is certainly a bit different. Chief Smith, he's an excellent apparatus operator. He assists his fellow members by sitting on the e-board. He is a paramedic preceptor, and unequivocally, he is a team player. He's regularly part of our crew-based approach to resolving emergencies. In fact, I believe he was one of the apparatus operators working at the fire the other night. So I don't want to seem callous or unforgiving, but we have a lot of outstanding firefighters here, just like Steve, and we have high expectations of service. But for that expectation, we provide Steve and his coworkers with protective equipment, training, and supervision to mitigate the personal risks. And as you've heard from Chief Smith, what separates Steve from others and warrants his Firefighter of the Year award or his action when there was no expectation. When faced with great personal risk and given the opportunity to save another one's life with no protective equipment, he moved into action. There's a saying that bounces around our fire stations periodically that says everybody wants to be a gangster until it's time to do gangster stuff. And the correlation to that saying is that Steve was faced with a situation where he could have chosen not to act, to not be a firefighter, and to stay safely away as a private citizen. It would have been easy for Steve to have written off the driver as deceased. The pictures I've seen, this was a reasonable conclusion. He could have determined that he was not equipped for firefighting nor emergency medical care, and concluded that the risk to himself was greater than the possibility of saving others. But we know this wasn't the case. He had no obligation, but he showed his true colors as a firefighter and jumped in. And I certainly wasn't there in the car with Steve to personally hear it, but I can't imagine that there was much of a discussion about or pondering his decision on what to do. So to Steve and your family members, you know, as the fire chief and perhaps one of the ones that might be a bit hard to impress, Steve, I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. I'll take the liberty to speak for others in the department and say that your colleagues are impressed too, and the award signals it. You certainly faced a once-in-a-lifetime situation, and your individual character was proven. You demonstrated bravery and a willingness to face great personal danger to save others. And while the patient outcomes are difficult to speak of publicly, I am certainly led to believe that without question, your selfless action saved another person's life. So to all of us who wear this patch, and many others, we're very proud of you. The West Hartford Fire Department and the residents of this town are privileged to have you. I appreciate the opportunity to be up here to represent the department and your award. So congratulations, Steve.
I'm so excited about today, I left the puck out in the car. To serve our nation, our veterans, our community, and our youth. That's our mantra and our foundation. And it constitutes the four pillars of the American Legion. Nationwide and worldwide, as we do have posts in faraway places. For its members, the American Legion is an opportunity for continuation of that service commitment previously made when we joined one of the armed forces. Service is also a key ingredient in the organizations of our first responders, the firefighters, the police and safety units, and the medical assistance teams. This is why we connect, recognize, and honor them. But there's a slight difference. Most of us veterans have served in the military for short periods of time, 3 and 4 years, or if longer, part-time, with reserves and National Guard units. For the first responders, service to the community is a career, and one that often calls for putting themselves at risk. And Steeve Parenti approached that burning vehicle, walking past several who had stopped and saw the turned over vehicle, but were just watching. And he ignored those flames and moved and pulled the injured party from the vehicle, saving his life and further injury. When he did that, he attested to the selfless drive to serve, not just during a shift, a 9-to-5 obligation, but a 24/7 commitment. The detailed account of that heroic action is superbly reported by Ronnie Newton of the Weha News, West Hartford News, weha.com. I encourage you to go read it. It's a very good account. So it is a privilege and an honor and a great pleasure, Steeve, on behalf of the Hayes-Velhage Post 96 of West Hartford, to present to you this certificate commemorating the outstanding achievement as Firefighter of the Year 2020. And so I'm just going to read 2020, the American Legion 2020 Firefighter of the Year Award presented to Firefighter Steeve J. Parenti in recognition of your distinguished and dedicated service with the West Hartford Fire Department, and presented by the Hayes-Velhage Post 96, Department of Connecticut, on this 10th day of February 2021. Steeve. I'd also like to say that with the fire department's approval, our post would like to submit Steve's achievement for recognition at the state level, the American Legion.
I like this podium height, it's wonderful. Thank you for being here again in this memorable period of history. And I want to just take a moment to thank the fire department for being such a partner, a leader, really a pillar of getting our community, hopefully in the final innings of this pandemic. The partnership has been so strong. It's not just the individual actions of every firefighter and paramedic that have faced this with such bravery and heroism, but it's being creative, responding to the moment. And that is so appreciated. And I just want you to know that the community recognizes it and understands and really, really treasures your service. So, and I surely do, and I know our town manager as well. So thank you very much. Love you, Steve. it is said that you are who you really are when no one's watching, right? That it's not somebody doing a job description or whatever, and that is what Steve did. He stepped in when nobody was judging him, but he was moved by he was empowered by his training and his skills, but he was moved by his soul and his character. And that is what we're celebrating today, is that extra strength. And he is inspired and supported, and also was enabled with your expertise. My niece is a nurse and actually had a similar situation a few weeks ago, and ran to not a burning vehicle, but a very bad accident. And so, you know, it takes a lot of courage and a lot of character. And I want to thank you both for being such incredible role models. So we'll get to and I also want to thank the American Legion for your partnership, your inspiration, your support, and really raising us to a higher level by all that you value the service, you reward it, and you bring all those values to us, to the community. Thank you. Okay, to the proclamation. Whereas Firefighter Steeve Parent was named 2020 Firefighter, I guess I can put this on for you. Firefighter of the Year, and will be recognized in the ceremony hosted by the American Legion Hayes-Velhage Post 96 on Wednesday, February 10, 2021. Whereas Firefighter Steeve Parent joined the West Hartford Fire Department as firefighter paramedic in 2016 and was subsequently promoted to apparatus operator in 2019. Whereas Firefighter Steeve Parent was off duty when he witnessed a major motor vehicle accident and at great personal risk to himself, rescued an unconscious victim who was unable to escape from a burning car. Whereas Firefighter Steeve Parent recognized the victim was not breathing, provided life-saving medical care on the roadside until emergency services arrived. Whereas Firefighter Steeve Parent was nominated by his peers to receive this award in recognition for his determined and courageous action on that day in April of 2019. And for espousing the very professional values of the West Hartford firefighter. Whereas Firefighter Steeve Parent is joined by his family, his friends, and colleagues in recognition for his contributions to the West Hartford Fire Department. Now therefore be it proclaimed that on behalf of the Town Council and the residents of West Hartford, I, Mayor Sherry G. Cantor, do hereby recognize and extend sincere appreciation to Firefighter Steeve Parent for his outstanding service to the community, and declare Wednesday, February 10th as Firefighter Steeve Parent Day. So maybe you can go get a wrap or something. I think lunch is served for you. Congratulations and thank you for being the man you are and saving many lives. Thank you.
We were afraid that it might be too short of a ceremony, so Steve prepared a few words to say just so we could stretch it out a little bit longer.
Not much for public speaking, so this is pretty short. First, I'd like to thank the American Legion, Commander Harrell, Town Manager Hart, Mayor Cantor, and Chiefs Priest, Calvin, and Smith for this honor. I'd also like to thank my wife Kara and my family for their support every day. The event that I'm being honored for had a positive outcome, less because of any inherent skill or heroism on my part, but more so because of the people I'm surrounded by every day. My brothers and sisters who taught me, demonstrated qualities that I strive to emulate, and who have led by example in every aspect of our profession. It's because of these men and women that I was able to act quickly and concisely, relying on the skills and knowledge they've instilled in me. This award is a great honor, and I will cherish it as a reminder of the privilege I have to serve amongst my brothers and sisters of West Hartford Fire Department. Thank you.
He's amazing. Best guy in the world.